Hi guys! Welcome to sunny Bulgaria.
Sunny Bulgaria, yes,
Yeah.
It is sunny Bulgaria. So we've been here a week, but we'll talk about that in another video. Because it's been an interesting week. But a lot of people, to say the least, a lot of people have been asking us about the moving process. So we wanted to do a video on that. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I started looking on the groups, obviously, for a transporter, and whenever you ask any questions on the Facebook groups, you always get a load of recommendations, and a couple of different ones were recommended. We chose this particular one because when we contacted them, they sent us their insurance straight away and their legal documentation about the company. So we were able to check, like with the insurance, you could check with Euro Insurance that it was a legitimate document, which I did do. Obviously, you know, you're paying quite a lot of money to transport your goods, so you need to know that it's all legit.
Yeah, I think it's a very big part of it, isn't it? Yeah. It's that trust element, because you're dealing with people that obviously you don't deal with on a normal daily basis. No. This is hopefully just a one-off move, isn't it?
Well, if it's not, we're not taking it all back again.
And you want all your stuff together.
Yeah.
That's all you're after, is something that's as easy as possible to get your stuff to where it needs to be.
And you have no idea, you know, whether you are going to be safe in the knowledge that it will arrive.
No, you do.
Because you don't know these people. But at some point, we had to decide to trust someone because
you have to.
We wanted our goods, obviously.
Yeah, you have to trust someone. It's like when you're living abroad and living in the UK and you've got your house here, you need to trust somebody at some point, otherwise
you can't do everything remotely.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. So that's how we came to choose.
We chose Sam and Emma from Moorbrook Transport Limited.
Yep.
And we're glad we did. So we decided early on what to take. That's really important that you decide that.
Yeah, it is, and it takes a while.
So we started packing about 3 months, maybe 4 months before.
Yeah, well, we thought we had a buyer earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
So obviously the first time we had a buyer, I say, because they obviously pulled out.
A buyer of our property, that is.
We already started to pack things and get stuff ready, sorting out stuff we didn't need. So you're clearing out a lot of stuff. You're limited to space and you're limited to weight. If you're going to take, your washing machine, your electric reclining sofa, or whatever you've got, they're going to be heavy. Yeah. They're going to be particularly heavy. So you're going to limit the other stuff that you can take, the smaller stuff. But it all comes down to,
what's
do you
most
really,
important?
Yeah, exactly. Is it important to you?
Yeah. When we first contacted Sam, we decided on a price based on the capacity and the weight. And he gave us a price for that, and he gave us that price a while ago, but he kept to it. And he kept to the price, because obviously our first house sale did fall through in September. The second one was just in April.
And we had been in touch with the quote we got was even before that, though, wasn't it? Yeah. So it was probably a year.
Yeah, it could have been.
Could have been a good year.
And he kept,
because obviously it took us a lot longer to sell the house than we thought.
So when you've worked out how much you can take, you need to have a good idea of what that looks like, because it's quite hard to picture all of your stuff fitting into this space. So
I'm not bad with my sizes.
Yes, with gauging.
But one of the things I kept asking Nikki for was to find out from Sam how big is the van and how big is the trailer, because we had both, didn't we?
We had both, yeah.
And I wanted to know the inside measurements of both items. What I then did is went into my dining room and I marked on the wall the height, and then I measured out what the actual the other size is, the length and the width, to give us the cubic. It worked out that it was effectively not going up to the ceiling. It was effectively the same, almost the same size as our dining room, which in actual fact was probably about another foot or so added on to that as well, because they kind of overlapped the way I did it.
So yeah, it's quite good to designate a room in your house if you can,
and just start putting stuff in it.
Start packing your items and putting them in there.
Packing your boxes into there. So yeah, to getting those sizes is difficult, because there's a certain amount of stuff that you can go, okay, I don't need that for now. I can box all that and put that in there. Don't need to worry about it till we get to the other side. There's other stuff that you're going to continue using, i.e. your kitchen stuff, your fridge, freezer, things like that. So you're not necessarily going to be able to put them into that same area. So
Yeah.
a lot of it is guesswork. We had our exercise machines as well,
Yeah.
which are up in the
gym.
in the gym. We
And I
couldn't
wanted to carry on running.
absolutely, and I couldn't physically bring them down really until the end anyway.
No.
So again, you're guesstimating as much as anything, and you're weighing everything. You're trying to weigh everything, every single box, every single machine or whatever it is has to be weighed, and some of that is not easy to do.
Well, to help with that, what I did is I went online and looked at the manufacturer of whatever equipment to see what their weights were. I went onto Amazon to look for similar items like our TV cabinet we had, which we didn't end up taking because it was 35 kilograms. Very, very heavy.
Didn't warrant
so
taking.
I
did
got
it?
the measurements off there. You did actually stand on the scales because we used just normal bathroom scales to weigh. Stand on the scales with the beds, holding the beds.
Holding them up.
Because we wanted to take our beds because they're so comfortable.
Your mum's armchair did the same
My
thing.
mum's armchair,
Anything that was particularly big, you couldn't really. I mean, if you stuck it on the scales, you ain't never going to see what it says.
No.
We did use a box, and we put most of our stuff onto the box, so to speak, so we could see the scale reading properly. But anything that was particularly big, yes, as you said, I held it and weighed myself with it, and obviously took that off. So there is a way around it, but it's not easy.
It's not easy.
If you can find the exact product online,
Yeah.
it'll tell you that's easy.
And the worst part about it is that when we started off quite casually packing some items,
Yeah, we did.
we thought, oh, there's no rush because it's going to take weeks for this sale to go through, is that you end up needing things that you packed away. And also, you end up also deciding, do we really want to take all those things in there? Because once you realise how much you can take, some things are more important than other things.
Yeah.
So if you've already packed those things, you need to unpack them, take them out, get rid of them.
We did the first 50 boxes or so, and then we added up the weights that we had and realised that we needed to be a bit more ruthless.
Cut back, yeah, definitely.
So we went back through those boxes again,
took out
a load of stuff that we thought, no, there's no point, it's just pointless.
And we decided what to take by valuing what's most important to us, and also
what you're going to need them
how
as.
much it's going to cost you to replace them here. So you can look online and the shops in Bulgaria online to compare prices. We bought a lot of second-hand goods from the British Heart Foundation that Darren worked for. So for us, they were cheap items. So to replace them here would cost a lot more money. So we did have to weigh that up as well, didn't we?
Yeah, it's like we said, it's how much
sell a lot of that
how much to replace it, how much to bring it over. Is it, is it cost effective? If you've got something that's worth 50 quid and you can buy it over here for 50 quid, then it seems a little pointless because you're going to pay.
Yeah, because you're going to pay your transport costs.
And then you might as well get a brand new one.
Yeah,
so
it's. And that was the other thing, with my washing machine. I decided not to take because I'd had it for like 6 years at the house, and we thought, well, they're cheap enough in Bulgaria, whereas tumble dryers aren't so cheap. So we decided to get rid of the washing machine and keep the tumble dryer. As it happened, the washing machine started breaking. Yeah, the bearings started to go on it. So
we didn't know if it was going to make it to the last. We were hoping to get the last couple of washes out of it right at the very end, it did just. And then so that's the first thing: working out your space, your weight, what you really need, getting it all boxed, ready, listed properly.
Right, let's just go on to the list. So there's been some discussion on whether you need to have an inventory list. Well, I would advise yes, definitely, because it doesn't matter whether other people say they've never been checked at the borders or whatever, but there's always going to be one person that does get checked. And isn't it better to have a list of items and not get checked than not have a list of items and then you get checked? You're risking having your stuff confiscated, not being allowed.
I think a lot of that is down to whether people bring it over at the moment.
Oh, of course.
If you're coming through a courier, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to list it, price it, weigh it, etc. If you're bringing it over on your own, you can bring it over, but some people will be checked, some people won't. They will select literally at random. It might be your turn. If you haven't got a list, good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, for the sake of argument of having one,
they could ask you to take every single box.
Yeah, you have to show them every single thing if that's the case. They'll want to see everything.
And the other thing is, for the transporter, of course, they trust you to They trust you to pack the goods. You know,
close.
they don't know if you're packing illegal items, do they?
No, of course
So
not.
you have to do a list. As far as the list goes, you have to do a list for them, obviously, so that they've got it. So if they get stopped, they can tell customs, you know, box number 24, whatever has got such and such in it. Nikki's clothes is what most of the boxes said. Didn't it?
Yep, well, that's what the van driver said.
As far as the list goes, no, you don't. Well, from our experience, you don't have to list every single item. Some people think that you have to put 10 knives, 10 forks, and whatever, you know.
No, you just have to put kitchen items.
You put kitchen items.
Cutlery,
I mean, it
crockery.
makes it easier for you at the other end as well. And when you unpack and take something out that you need.
When you're trying to find stuff.
Yeah,
at the other
exactly.
end.
So the list basically, it's you want an itemised number list that corresponds with the boxes or the packets that you're packing up. So box number 1, obviously it's item number 1 on the list, and then you just put a brief. There's clothing in there, or there's kitchen stuff in there. Or
It
whatever.
also has to be a unique number. We first of all put cardboard boxes,
Number
1 to 50.
And
then we had
did
plastic boxes. We
1
did wooden boxes,
Yeah.
and then we found that we had to do actually renumber all of those, starting from 1 up to about 170.
We got up to 167
Yes.
boxes, and it wasn't just boxes; it was crates, it was plastic bags.
Everything has to have its individual item. So, for sake of
Yeah.
argument, if you're bringing a running machine, that's got to have a number. If it's got in
And,
parts, you need to
yeah.
number each part.
Like we had to take the arms off the running machines,
Yep.
so they had to have
And the
individual
console.
numbers as well.
That's right. So your washing machine would have a number. Your fridge freezer would have a number.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you bring over has to have its own unique number, so that it can be pulled and they can check whatever they want to check.
And then you have the weight of each box, and then the value. Now, as far as values goes, I asked Sam, what do you put as value? And he said, basically, what would you value at for yourself? So I decided to value it at what we could sell it for and personal value. So some items I didn't even put a price on because they were either inherited or they were free. So I thought, there's no value on them.
Technically, you wouldn't replace them.
No,
would you?
exactly.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Where there are other items, when we started, we sold off a lot of items on Facebook Marketplace. And you practically have to give things away nowadays. People don't pay a lot of money for things. So we basically did what we thought we could get for them on Marketplace, which wasn't very much, was it?
No.
The other items, like really heavy items, like let's talk about all your bits and bobs, tools and things.
Oh, it's annoying, that is. I'm guessing that most guys watching this will have...
Well, some ladies.
Most guys watching this in their sheds, their garages or workshop, whatever it is, you've got those bits that are just bits that you can't get rid of because you know that one day they'll come in useful. Now the problem with moving over to here is I had 3 or 4 boxes of just bits and bobs that will one day come in useful. So I had to make that painful decision to get rid of them. And it was a painful decision, especially since we've been here. We've only been here a week. There are several times that I've gone, I haven't got it anymore.
Yeah.
So some of those bits would have actually come in really useful, and we haven't got them, which is
more so here
Murphy's
than
Law.
obviously in the
Absolutely,
UK.
yeah.
That's the problem.
But again, it's just bits and bobs, and the cost of bringing them wasn't warranted. I'm starting to build up some more bits and bobs already. So
what we did, we separated all our metal and we gave that to the scrap man along with the washing machine, and we donated items back to the BHF, and we also did a couple of tip runs, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's how we got rid of everything pretty much. So initially we decided on a date. We gave 4 weeks notice basically to Sam and Emma. I'm not sure what the shortest notice would be, but we gave them 4 weeks, so we had to pay 5% deposit for that date. It's what?
I think it would be to give them as much notice as you possibly can.
Definitely,
obviously,
yeah.
to get the date that you want.
Yeah, and also Sam likes to have the list quite early on as well.
At least an idea.
Just to get an idea of what you're going to be taking.
Well, we loaded up on the Thursday, didn't we?
Yeah, everything got collected on Thursday.
Exactly as they said, right?
Exactly
pretty much on the time that
like
they said they'd be there.
midday,
Bearing in mind they came from
One little tip:
Hull.
when your transport
up
arrives,
north.
don't pack the kettle straight away, because I packed the kettle early on that day, and obviously I wasn't able to make any cups of tea because it took quite a long time to pack everything on.
Of course it does.
Because it has to be packed strategically and to make the most of the space.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Sam's very good at that. There was not an ounce of space left, particularly on the trailer.
Yeah. Don't pack the kettle until the last minute.
They came on the Thursday. Took about 3 hours, 4 hours to pack.
Yeah, and they weigh everything as it goes on, and obviously if it corresponds with your list weights, then great.
Yep, which it should do, obviously.
Of course it should do. Maybe
there's no point going
1 kilo out, but
it's about 10 kilos because that ain't going to happen. When they get there, they'll weigh it. So there's no point trying to pretend there's less or whatever. They will check it, and rightly so. They've got to. They've got legal requirements, for their weights that they're allowed.
And if it's over, then of course they won't be able to take it. If their trailer and the van can take a lot more than we agreed on 15 cubic. It can take 21 cubic, I believe, 2,100 kilograms. So we agreed on 1,500, and actually we did get a bit more on there. So
we did.
Which was really kind of them.
They certainly didn't have to. They could quite easily turn around and say, actually, you got too much. We got some other stuff to collect, and sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is one of the things that we were worried about to start off with.
But I just think they liked us.
But I think because they could see our weights, and I had obviously made a huge effort to mark in the dining room, etc., to get that as close as I possibly could. We weren't far off, but we were a little bit over on the actual cubic, not the weight. The weight was absolutely pretty much bang on what we'd agreed. That was. Thank you, Sam and Emma, for that.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. But they picked up on the Thursday, kept in touch with you every day. With
told me where they were.
And then we got a date. We knew they were going to arrive on the Tuesday the following week, so it's not very long without our goods, which was great. Because the first time we moved here, it took about 6 weeks, didn't it?
We sent it by container, didn't we?
Yeah. So that was good. 5 days without our stuff, pretty much. And then
they arrived.
Then he messaged on the day to say what time they'd be here.
Then whipped it all out of the van again.
Yeah, it was a lot quicker coming off than it went on.
We filled the garage pretty easy, didn't we?
Exactly. And another thing, obviously, their insurance, although it does cover you for anything that might happen on their behalf, if you don't pack your items really well, such as crockery and any valuables, any fragile, whatever, and anything happens, then you're responsible. You won't be able to claim on the insurance. So that's important. I have to say we had absolutely no breakages.
Nope. Nothing. It's been really good.
Nothing missing.
This is always a bonus as well.
Everything we have
was as it was.
110% confidence in recommending these people.
Definitely.
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask below. I'll put a link below for Sam and Emma's website, how you can contact them, and I would advise you contact them with regard to moving your stuff rather than us, really,
absolutely,
because we won't know. You need
to speak to them. They're the professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. If you've got any particular items that you're not sure about, they'll be the ones that can tell you. We have no hesitation in recommending them. 110%, as Nikki said. They were absolutely fantastic, start to finish. Really helpful. It's not like they stand there and watch you do it. They grabbed hold and got stuff on and off for us as well.
Stuck in. One other thing with regard to obviously selling new goods, for those of you who are going to have cars to sell on or transfer on, we had a car each. We transferred one to our daughter. And then my car we kept right till the very end.
Which she has described as a bucket, which is really not very nice.
Like a bucket, driving a bucket. A Kia Picanto would.
Beige at that, so it's like an old person's car really, isn't it? Which was ideal for me. So mine, I advertised on Facebook Marketplace, and I stipulated in the advert that it can't be bought until the 11th of April, which was the day that we were going to be staying at our friend Karen and Nick. Hi. And Bertie.
And Bertie.
Bertie the dog.
So we sold it on that day, and then we took the bus to see Karen and Nick and stay with them. So we just want to say a big thanks, obviously, to you, Karen and Nick, for putting up with us. It was a very stressful, probably the last week was a very stressful week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But there was, what surprised me is that, you know, you work yourself up and you go, oh, I hope everything's going to go all right. We've got to, you know, finalise the thing with the house. We've got to pack everything. We've got to send it off. We've got to give the keys over on the Friday. You're hoping obviously the payment comes through as it should do.
And then there's also cancelling your BT contract or your internet contract.
Lining everything up.
Cancelling all your insurances, cancelling your house tax. Thank God we don't have to pay UK house taxes anymore.
The thing I wanted to say was that, like Nikki said, it is a bit stressful. You do get a little bit.
It seems to build up more stress the closer you get.
I think especially as we're not moving to somewhere else in the UK, we're actually going abroad, so it's a lot further away. And it's not so easy to do. But we planned everything so well, and everything had gone. I don't need to touch wood now; it's all done. But you convince yourself to some extent that something's going to go wrong.
I think the worst thing is because we're selling our house, and we're not just moving up the road. We are moving to another country. So we're sending our goods a couple of thousand miles away.
Yep.
We give up our jobs.
Yep.
So
if anything had gone wrong,
they could have pulled out before the completion date was always at the back of my mind. That was a concern for me.
Yeah.
So when it did happen, and in fact the buyers were very keen to get into the house, and we actually took a bit longer because we had to go and finish mopping up and whatever.
Yeah, clean it up and make it tidy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
it was relaxed on the last day.
It was really relaxed. We had a proper nice walk, and it was lovely. And then everything as far as, you know, the travelling, we can hit on with our first week, really, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that bit. This one was really about the moving process, how long it can take, what you need to do, etc.
And who we use.